talk, Regina.
That's so that what did your right tell you? Your master's asleep upstairs.
Asleep? In the middle of the day?
No business of yours.
I was out on the loose last night.
I quite believe that.
Yes, we're weak vessels, we poor mortals like our own.
So it seems.
And temptations are manifold in this world, Regina. All the same, I was hard at work, God knows, at 5:30 this morning.
Very well. Only the off now. I want to stop here and have rendezvous with you.
What do you say you won't have?
I won't have anyone find you here, so just go about your business.
Oh, blessed if I go before I've had a talk with you. This afternoon I shall have finished my work down at the schoolhouse, and then I shall take tonight's boat and be off home to the town.
Pleasant journey to you.
Oh, thank you, my child. Tomorrow the orphanage is to be finished, and then there'll be fine doings, no doubt, and plenty of intoxicating drink going. Well, nobody shall say of Jacob Engstrand that he can't keep out of temptation's way.
Oh,
You see, there's to be heaps of grand folks here tomorrow. Pastor Manders is expected from town too.
he's coming today.
Oh, there, you see. And I should be cursedly sorry if he found out anything against me. Don't you understand?
Is that your game?
Is what, my kid?
What are you going to fool Pastor Manders into doing this time?
Do I want to fool Pastor Manders? No, you're crazy. Oh, Pastor Manders, far too good a friend to me for that. All I mean to say is that I'm going to be off home again tonight.
Sooner the better, say I.
Yes, but I want you with me, Eugene.
What? Me? What are you talking about?
I want you to come home with me, I said.
Never in this world shall you get me home with you.
Oh, we'll see about that.
Very well, we'll see about me. Who's been brought up by a lady like Mrs. Alving? Me, who's treated almost as a daughter of you. Want me to go home with you? To a house like yours? For shame.
What? You set yourself up against your own father, you hussy?
It's said often enough I was no concern of yours.
Oh, why would you go and bother about that now?
Haven't you many times sworn at me and called me a fidonk?
Oh, what was that word you used?
Oh, I remember very well what word you used.
Oh, well, but that was only when I had it wrong, you know. Temptations are manifold in this world, Regina. All the same, that was when your mother was being aggravating little. I had to find something to twitter with my child. She was always setting herself up for a fine lady. Let me go, Engstrand, let me be. Remember, I was 3 years in Chamberlain Norwing's family here in Rosenfold. Oh, mercy on us. She never could forget that the captain was made Chamberlain while she was in service here.
Poor mother, you very soon tormented her into her grave.
Oh, I'm not blamed for that too, am
And
I?
that leg too.
What do you say, my child?
He's been with home.
Is that German, eh?
Yes.
Hey, you've picked up some learning out here. That may come in useful now, Regina.
What do you want with me in town?
Can you ask what a father wants for his own child? Am I a lonely, forlorn widower?
Don't try any of that nonsense on with me. Why do you want me?
Well, let me tell you, I've been thinking of setting up in a new line of business.
Tried that often enough and much good you've done with it.
Yes, but this time it shall work, Regina. Devil take...
Stop! You're swearing.
Hush, hush. You're right enough there. What I mean to say is, I play by a very tiny sum for this orphanage job.
Do you?
And
Good thing for you.
thank you. What kind of man spend his habits on here in this country hole?
Well, what then?
Why, I thought of putting the money towards a bit of paying speculation. I thought of sort of sailor's tower. Oh, I did give a high-class affair, to be sure, not any sort of pigsty, but common sailors. No, damn it, it would be for captains and mates.
And I was too.
Oh, you were to help, to be sure. Only just for the look of the thing. Oh, devil a bit of hard work you shall have, my girl. No, you You shall do exactly as you like.
Oh, indeed.
But there must be a petticoat in the house. Oh, that's as clear as daylight. You must remember the weary wanderers on the ocean of life. Now, don't go and stand in your own light, Regina. What's to become of you out here? You're to look after the children at the orphanage. That's what I hear. Is that the sort of thing for you? Eh? Are you so dead set on wearing your life out for a pack of dirty brats?
No. Things go as I want them to, well, there's no saying. There's no saying.
What do you mean by there's no saying?
Debbie Mark. How much money do you save?
Why, one thing and another, that's of 700 or 800 pounds.
Not so bad.
It's enough to make a start with, I go.
Aren't you thinking of giving me it?
No! I'm blessed if I am!
Not even a scrap of stuff for a new dress.
Oh, come to town with me, my lass. You'll soon get dresses enough.
I'll do that on my own account if I want to.
No, a father's guiding hand is what you want, Regina. Now, I've got my eyes set on a capital house down in Little Harvest. They don't want much ready money, and could be a sort of save or so, you know.
But I will not live with you. I will have nothing whatsoever to do with you. Be off!
Oh, you won't stay along with me, lassie. No such luck. If you know how to play your cards right, well, you're that fine figure of a girl, at least as you've grown into in the past year or two.
Well,
Well, you'd soon find some mate, or maybe even a captain.
I won't marry anyone of that sort. Sailors have no savoir vivre.
What's that they haven't got?
I know sailors are Italian and not the sort to marry.
Well, never mind about marrying them. You can make it pay all the same. The Englishman, the man with the yacht, he came down here with $300, he did. Meanwhile, she was a bit handsomer than you. Oh.
Out! Out you go!
Oh, come, you're not going to hit me, I hope.
Shall hit you begin talking about mother now. Out with you this minute and don't slam the door. Young Mr. Albings is asleep upstairs.
He's asleep, I know. You're mighty taken up about young Mr. Albin. Help me with this coat, Roger. You don't mean to say it's him as I should be expecting a...
You're crazy, I tell you. Be off this minute. Go. No, not that way. Let Miss Pasterman is down the kitchen stairs with you.
All right, I'm going. But just you speak to him as he's coming down. He's the man to tell you what a child owes its father. But I am your father, all the same. And I can prove it from the church register. Good morning, Miss Sixfat.
No, really. Good morning, Pastor Randall.
You know, I've just arrived. It's terrible weather we've been having.
It's such pleasant weather for the country, sir.
Oh, no doubt you're quite bad. You time for God to get you to what?
Oh, mayn't I help you, wife? How wet is it? Just hang up and let it dry.
What a blessing it is to be safe under cover. You have your hands full here, I suppose.
Yes, there's plenty to do, of course.
Yes, but tomorrow's visit.
Mrs. Albing, it says something on young Max's chocolate.
Oh, I know, by the by, that he was just in.
Oswald, yes, he came the day before yesterday. We didn't expect him until today.
You're quite strong and well, I hope.
Dreadfully tired of the journey, sir. He made one trip here through Paris for Holloway in one train. He's just upstairs sleeping now, so let's take a little bit quiet.
It's quite restless.
Do sit down, Pastor Man, and make yourself comfortable.
Yes.
There, you are comfortable now, sir.
Yes, yes. Do you know, Mrs. Simpson? I positively believe you've grown since the last time I saw you.
Really? Mrs. Albing says I feel noted.
Filled out. Yes, yes, I suppose so. Just enough.
No, tell Mrs. Albing you did.
Which would be so kind, but no, no. Tell me, how is your father getting on up here?
He's getting on well enough, thank you.
He often visits me when he comes to town.
He's always so glad of getting a chance to talk to you, sir.
Yes, and you often look Your father is not a man of strong character. He stands terribly in need of guiding hand.
Yes, I dare say he does.
Yes, he told me as much last time he was in town.
Yes, he mentioned to me something, but
Yes, you know, he needs someone here with your opinion to try.
But you know whether the soul can spare me now with the orphanage, and I should be decided so as to leave Mrs. Olive children so kind to me.
My dear girl, a daughter's duty is. Well, of course, we should have to clear it with your mistress first.
I don't know whether it would be quite proper for me at my age to keep house for a single man.
My dear girl, when the man is your own father.
Yes, but it's all the same now for a thoroughly nice house with a real gentleman.
My dear Regina.
One who I could love and respect and be important to, then I should be expert to count. So lonely out here in the country, so yourself so looking to be alone in the world, and I can assure you I am both quick and willing. Do you know of any such place for me, sir?
No, certainly not.
Well, do remember me.
Of course.
For if I
Thank you. Would you be so kind as to fetch your mistress for me?
yes, I will.
Indeed.
Welcome, my dear pastor.
Here I am, as promised, Mrs. Oliver.
Always punctual to the minute.
You can believe it was not so easy for me to get here. With all the board and committees I
It's
belong
making
to.
all the kind of it come so early. Now we get brothers for dinner. Which way's your portmanteau?
That's it up in. I will be staying there.
Well, you really ought to be persuaded even now to pass the night under my roof.
No. Thank you, Mrs. Oliver. No, but I'll stay at the inn. That's as usual. It's just so conveniently close to the landing stage.
Well, you must have your own way. Well, I really should have thought us two old people.
And now you're making fun of me. You're in terribly good spirits, I dare say. What with tomorrow's festivity and Oswald's return?
Yes, you would be very delighted as to me. It's been more than 2 years since he was home last. Now to have it all the winter.
That is very good and dutiful of him, for I can well believe that Rome and Paris have very different attractions than they read novel.
Oh, but here he has his mother. You see, my darling boy, he hasn't forgotten his old mother.
No, it would be grievous indeed. Absence and absorption in art and that sort of thing with a blunt is natural feeling.
You may well say so, but do nothing of that sort to fear with Oswald. I am curious to see whether you know him a bit. Will you down shortly? He just resting a little upstairs on the sofa. Come sit down, my dear.
Thank you. Are you quite at liberty?
Certainly.
Well, here we have. Tell me, Mrs. Oliver, how does that book come to be here?
That book, it's a book that I read in.
And do you often read such literature?
Certainly I do.
Do you feel yourself better or happier for such reading?
But I feel, so to speak, more secure.
That's strange. How do you mean?
I seem to find explanation and confirmation of all sorts of things I myself am thinking. So that's the wonderful part of it, Pastor Ben. There's really nothing new in those books. It's only what most people already think and believe. Although most people either formulate it themselves or else inquire about it.
Great heavens, you don't really believe that.
Certainly I do.
But not here amongst us, not in this country.
Yes, here as elsewhere.
Well, I really must
But for
say.
the rest, what do you object to in these books?
Do you really believe that I have nothing better to do with my time than to read such publications as this?
That's to say you know nothing of what you are condemning.
I've read enough about it to know that I disapprove.
Yes, but Pastor Ben, is your own judgment is hardly something.
We must often rely upon the judgment of others in this world. Things are so ordered like that. And it is well that they are, or else what would become of common society?
Well, I dare say you're right there.
I do not deny that there is much that may be alluring in such books, nor can I blame you for wanting to keep up with the intellectual movements that are said to be happening in the places where you've let your son spend so much of his life. But one not need tell the whole world about it. One is not bound to account to everyone for what one reads and thinks in one's own four walls.
Certainly, I quite agree.
And think now of the orphanage. You must consider its interests. But you decided to build this at a time when, unless I am quite mistaken, You thought very differently on the spiritual matter.
Well, I quite admit that, but it was about the orphanage at that point.
It was about the orphanage we were speaking, yes. All I say is this, my dear lady. Prudence. Prudence. And now, do you see these?
Documents?
All in perfect order. You can well believe that it was not so easy to get them this way. I had to apply strong pressure. The authorities are almost morbidly scrupulous whenever there is any decisive step to be taken. But, at last, here we have the deed of the gift of the parcel of land on the man Rose involved, including all of the newly built schoolrooms, the master house, and of course the chapel. Here we have the legal fiat of the endowment, and of course the bylaws. Will you look at this? Bylaws for the children's house to be known as Captain Orwing's Foundation.
So there it is.
I have opted for captain as opposed to chamberlain, as captain seems less pretentious.
Certainly, just as you think best.
Yes, and here is the bank account for the security lying at interest to cover the costs of the orphanage.
Thank you, but please keep it more convenient.
Oh, yes, of course. I think we'll leave it in the bank for now. The interest is not what we like. 4%, 6 months' notice of withdrawal. Certainly, if a better mortgage, of course it would have to be a first mortgage with unimpeachable securities. If one of those could be found, then we should have to give more thought to them.
Certainly, you're the best judge of these sort of things.
I will keep my eye on it at any rate. Now, Mrs. Orwing, there is one more thing I have several times been meaning to discuss with you.
What is that?
Well, shall the orphanage be insured or not?
Of course, it must be insured.
But hold on, let's consider the matter a little more closely.
I have everything insured. The buildings, the movables, the stock.
Of course you do. On your own property, but I do too, of course. But this orphanage is to be consecrated, as it were, to a higher purpose.
Yes, but that is hardly any reason.
I myself do not see the slightest impropriety in guarding against all eventualities.
No, I should think not.
But what's the general feeling in the area? You, of course, know better than I.
Well, the general feeling is...
Are there any number of people who really respectable people who may be scandalized?
What do you mean by really respectable people?
By respectable, I mean people in such positions of authority or singular importance that one cannot help but attach some weight to their opinion.
Yes, there were several of us sort here who...
Well, there, you see. We have many such people in town. I think of my colleagues' adherents. People who would be only too quick to assign these actions as proof that neither you nor I have the right faith in the higher providence.
For your own part, Pastor Manners, you can at least tell
Yes,
us.
for my own part, my conscience would rest quite easy. That is true enough. You would not escape grave misinterpretation, and that might reflect very poorly upon the law.
Well, in that case...
Nor can I lose sight of the very difficult, I might even say painful position which I might be placed in. In town, many of the leading circles have taken a lively interest in solving. It is, of course, to be founded partially for the interests of the town. It is to be hoped that, to a considerable extent, it will result in the lightening of our poor is. But, as I have been your business advisor, and held the documents in my hand, I cannot but fear that I may face the brunt of the fanaticism.
We mustn't run the risk of that.
Nor can I forget the attacks that might be made against me in certain papers and periodicals.
Enough, Pastor Manners. The consideration is quite decisive.
Then you wish to leave it uninsured.
Yes, we will let them know.
But now, if some great disaster were to happen, and one can never tell, should you be able to make good damages?
Oh, I tell you plainly, I should do nothing of the sort.
Well, then I tell you, we are taking no small responsibility upon ourselves.
Do you think we can do otherwise?
No, we can really not afford to do otherwise. It would not do to open ourselves to misinterpretation. It would be grievous indeed to give offense to our weaker brethren.
He was a clergyman, certainly should not.
Well then, I also think that such an institution may have fortune inside. That it stands under a higher providence.
Let us hope so.
So, you'll let it take its chances?
Yes, certainly.
Very well. So be it then. No insurance.
It is odd that you happen to mention this today.
Oh, well, I often thought to bring it to your
For
attention.
just yesterday we had an incident down there.
Is that so?
Oh, it was a trifling matter. A heap of shavings caught fire in the carpenter's workshop.
Oh, Wayne Strandbergs.
Yes, they say he's often careless with matches.
That poor man. So many battles with him to fight. Let us thank God that he is now striving to live a more seemly life. I hear.
Indeed. Who says?
Oh, well, he himself told me so. He's certainly a capital workman.
Oh, yes, so long as he's sober.
Oh, that melancholy weakness. He's often driven to it by his leg, he says. You know, the last time he came to see me, I was really touched by him. He thanked me so warmly for getting him this job so he might be near Regina.
Oh, he doesn't see much of her.
Oh, yes, he sees her almost every day.
Maybe so.
Yeah. He feels so acutely that he needs someone to keep a firm hand on him when temptation comes. That is what I have like about Jacob Ibsen. He comes to you so full of doubt, accusing himself of sins. Mrs. Olaf, supposing it were a real necessity for Regina to go with him, and you must not set yourself against it.
Indeed, I shan't set myself against it. Regina's to stay here in her position at the orphanage.
After all, he is her
I
father.
know very well from father he has been with her. No, Regina shall not go with him with my goodwill.
Not taking the matter so warmly, you sadly misunderstand Ibsen. You seem to be quite terrified.
Enough, Pastor Mendes. I brought Regina into this home, and as he shall stay. Now, hush. I shall say no more about it. When he comes Oswald down the stairs, we shall think of no one but him.
Oh, I beg your pardon, I thought you were in the study. Good morning, Pastor Manders.
Oh, how strange.
Well, what do you think of him, Pastor Mendes?
Can it really be?
Yes, it is really the prodigal son, sir.
My dear boy.
Well then, the lost sheep found.
Oswald is thinking of the time when so much devoted to his becoming a painter.
Yeah. Well, to our mortal eyes, many steps may seem dubious at first, which later proves to be, well, first, welcome home, my dear Oswald. I suppose I may call you by your Christian name.
What else should you call me?
Very good. What I was saying is this. You must not think that I utterly condemn the artist's calling. I am sure there are many who can keep their inner selves unharmed, as in any other profession.
Well, let us hope so.
I know one who's kept both his inner and his outer self unharmed. Just look at him, Pastor Mendes.
Yes, yes, my dear mother. Now, let's say no more about it.
Oh, yes, that is certainly true. You've begun to make quite the name for yourself. The papers have often spoken of you most positively. However, fancy, by the by, just so lately, I haven't seen your name quite so often.
I haven't been able to paint so much lately.
Even a painting is a risk now and then.
Oh, yes. And in the meantime, you can be gathering strength for some great work.
Yes. Mother, will dinner soon be ready?
Yes, it's a little less than half an hour. He's a capital appetite, thank God.
Yes, taste for tobacco, too.
Oh, I found my father's pipe in my room.
Ah, that explains it then.
It explains what?
But just then, when he appeared in the doorway with the pipe in his hand, I could have sworn that I'd seen his father. As I was like,
No, really?
How could you say so? Oswald takes after me.
oh, yes, but there's a sort of curve around the lips, and something about the mouth that reminds one almost exactly of Mr. Olaf.
It's not so. Oswald has rather clever curve around his mouth, I think.
Yes, many of my colleagues have much the same expression.
But anyway, put your pipe away, boy. I'll try when you're smoking in here.
By all means. I only wanted to try it, for I once smoked it when I was a boy.
You?
Yes. I recollect I was quite small at the time. I had gone up to Father's room one evening when he was in great spirits.
But you can't recollect anything of those times.
Yes, Mother, I recollect it distinctly. He took me on his knee, and he gave me the pipe. Smoke, boy, he said. Smoke away, boy. And so I smoked as hard as I could, until I felt I was growing quite pale, and perspiration stood in great drops upon my forehead. Then he burst out laughing heartily.
Well, that was quite extraordinary.
My dear friend, it is only something Oswald has dreamt.
No, Mother, I assure you I did not dream it. Don't you remember this? You came and took me out into the nursery, and I was sick, and I saw that you were crying. Did Father often play such practical jokes?
Oh, in his youth, your father overflowed with the joy of life.
Yes. And yet he managed to do so much in the world, so much that was good and useful, although he died so early.
Indeed, you have inherited the name of an energetic and admirable man. No doubt it will be an incentive to you.
You ought to, indeed.
It was good of you to come home for the ceremony in his honor.
I could do no less for my father.
Yes, and now to keep him for so long, that's the best part of it.
Yes, you're to pass the winter leave right here.
My stay is indefinite, sir, but it is good to be at home.
Yes, isn't it, my dear boy?
My poor Oswald Olaf. You went out into the world so early.
I did. And I sometimes wonder whether it wasn't too early.
Not at all. Tell him that is better for it. He ought not to stay at home with his mother and father and get spoiled.
That is quite a debatable point, Mrs. Olaf. A child's home, proper place, is and ought to be the home of his fathers.
There I quite agree with you, Pastor Manders.
Only, what have the consequences been for him? There is no reason why we cannot speak of it in front of him. He is 6 or 7 and 20. He's never had the opportunity of seeing what a proper home really looks like.
I beg your pardon, Pastor, but then you're quite mistaken.
Oh, I thought you lived almost exclusively among artists.
Oh, so I have.
And almost exclusively amongst the younger ones.
Yes, certainly.
But I thought few of them could afford to build a house or set up home.
There are few who can afford to marry, sir. That's true.
That's just what I said.
But they may have a home for all that. And several of them have, as a matter of fact, and very pleasant, well-ordered homes they are too.
Oh, no. I don't mean bachelor's quarters. By the home, I understand the home of a family, where a father lives with his wife and his children.
Yes, or with his children and his children's mother.
Good heavens.
Well,
His children's mother.
yes. Would you have him turn his children's mother out of doors?
It is illicit relations you're speaking of. Irregular marriages, people call them.
I have never noticed anything particularly irregular about the lives these people lead.
How is it possible that a young man or woman with any decency of feeling can go on to live such a life in the eyes of all the world?
What are they to do then? A poor young artist, a poor girl, marriage costs a great deal. What are they to do?
What are they to do? I will tell you what they ought to do, Mr. Olding. What they ought to do is exercise self-restraint from the first. That is what they ought to do.
That doctrine will scarcely go down with warm-blooded young people who love each other.
How can the authorities tolerate such a state of things in the light of day? Had I not cause to be deeply concerned about your son? In such circles where open immorality prevails, even as a sort of recognized place in society.
Let me tell you, sir, that I've spent nearly all my Sundays in 1 or 2 such irregular homes.
Sundays? Of all days.
Is that not the day to enjoy oneself? Well, never have I heard an offensive word, and still less have I seen anything that could be considered immoral. No. Do you know anywhere I have come across immorality in artistic circles?
No, thank heavens I don't.
Well then, allow me to inform you. I have come across it when one or other of our own pattern husbands and fathers has come to Paris to have a look round on his own account, and has done the artists the honour of visiting our humble haunts. Plainly what was what. They could tell us about places and things we had never even dreamt of.
Do you mean to insinuate that respectable men
Have you never heard these respectable men, upon returning home, tell of the way in which immorality runs rampant abroad?
Well, yes, but I have never
You
done
can take their word for it. They know what they're talking about. Oh, that great, free, glorious life should be defiled in such a way.
Oswald, you shouldn't get so worked up over it. It's not good for you.
Yes, you're quite right, Mother. It's bad for me, I know. You see, I'm dreadfully worn out. I think I should go for a little turn before dinner. Forgive me, Pastor. I know you cannot take my point of view, but I couldn't help speaking out.
My poor boy.
You may well say so. So this is what has become of him. He called himself the prodigal son. Alas. Alas. What do you have to say to this?
Well, I said he was right in every word.
Right in such principles.
Yes, in my loneliness, I've come the very same way of thinking of him. I've never dared say anything, but now I shall let my voice speak for me.
You are greatly to be pitied, Mrs. Alden. But now I must speak seriously to you. It is not your business advisor, or you and your husband and friend of all these years who stands before you. It is a priest, the very same priest who stood before you the moment of your life you've gone furthest astray.
What does this priest say to me?
First, I shall stir up your memory of it. The moment is well chosen. Tomorrow marks the 10th anniversary of your husband's death. Tomorrow we will hold a ceremony in his honor. Tomorrow I will speak to the whole assembled multitude. But today I speak to you alone.
Very well, Pastor Manders. Speak.
Do you remember, after less than a year of married life, you forsook your house and home. You fled, yes, Mrs. Orme, fled your husband and refused to return to him, no matter how much he begged and prayed you.
you've forgotten how infinitely miserable I was during that first year.
It's the mark of a spirit of self-will to long for happiness in this life. What right have we humans to happiness? We have only to do our duty. Yours was to stand by the man you'd once chosen. We were bound by the holiest ties.
You know very well what sort of life Alvin was leading. What sort of excesses he was guilty of.
I know very well what rumors there were about him, and I am the last to approve of such a life, if report does not do him wrong. But a wife is not appointed to be her husband's judge. You are to do your duty to bear the cross that a higher power had in its wisdom bestowed upon you. Now, you recklessly threw away the cross, deserted the backslider you should have supported, nearly ruined your good name and reputation, and almost succeeded in ruining the name and reputation of others.
Others? One other person to me.
It was incredibly reckless of you to seek refuge with me.
Without acknowledging with the most intimate friend.
On just that account, you may thank God that I possess the necessary firmness of will to dissuade you from your wild designs, that it vouchsafed me to lead you back to the path of right and home to your lawfully wedded husband.
Yes, Pastor Manders, that was certainly your work.
I was but an instrument in a higher power's hand, but what a blessing has it not proved to you all your days. Did Olaf not turn his back on his errors, as a man should? Did he not live with you, lovingly and blamelessly all his days, and become a benefactor to society, raising you, little by little, to his own level, making you his assistant in everything? Yes, Zolan, praise his duty. But now I come to the next great error in your life.
And what is that?
Just as you once forsook the duties of a wife, so too do you now forsake those of a mother.
Oh.
All your life, you have been under the dominion of a pestilent spirit of self-will. Your whole bias has been towards insubordination and lawlessness. You've never known how to endure any bond. Everything that is weighed upon you in this life, you have cast away like a burden you were free to be rid of. You found it troublesome to be a wife, so you fled your husband. Now, you find it inconvenient to be a mother, so you send your child forth among strangers.
Yes, I did so, that's true.
And so you have become a stranger to him.
No, never.
Yes, you are. You must be. And in what state has he returned to you? Bethink yourself well, Mrs. Olaf. You said greatly against your husband that you recognize by raising yonder memorial to him. Recognize now that you have sinned greatly against your son. Now, it may not be too late to guide him back to the path of right. Save what's in him that may yet be saved. But verily, Mrs. Olaf, you are a guilt-laden mother. This I felt my duty to tell you.
Very well, Pastor Manders. You've spoken out. Tomorrow you will speak publicly in memory of my husband. I shall not speak tomorrow. But now I shall speak frankly as you have spoken to me.
To be sure, you are pleading excuses for your misconduct.
No, I will only tell you a story.
Well?
All that you have just said about me and my husband and our life after you brought me back to the path of duty, as you call it. About all that you know nothing from personal observation. From that moment, you who had been our most intimate friend never set foot in our house again.
You and your husband left town immediately after.
Yes, and in my husband's life you never came to see us. It was business that forced you to visit when you overtook the affairs of the orphanage.
Ellen, if that's meant as a reproach, I beg you to bear in mind.
Regard your own to your position. Yes, and that I was a runaway wife. One can never be too cautious with such unprincipled creatures.
That is a gross over-exaggeration.
Well, suppose it is. My point is that your judgment as to my married life is founded upon nothing but common knowledge and rapport.
I admit that. What then?
Well, then, I shall tell you the truth. For I swore that one day you should know it, you alone.
What is the truth then?
The truth is that my husband died just as dissolute as he had lived all his days.
What do you mean?
After 19 years of marriage, just as dissolute in his desires, at any rate, as he was before he married us.
And those wild oats, those irregularities, the excesses, if you like, you call a dissolute life.
I'll talk to you for expression.
I don't understand you.
You need not.
Almost makes me dizzy. The seeming union, the marriage of all those years was nothing more than a hidden abyss.
Neither more nor less. Now you know it.
I grasp it. I can't realize it. How could such a state of things be kept secret?
This has been my ceaseless struggle day after day. After Oswald's birth, he seemed to be a bit better, but it didn't last long. And so I had to struggle twice as hard, as if for life or death, to ensure that no one knew what kind of man my child's father was. And you know what power Alvin had of winning people's hearts. No one seemed able to believe anything but good of him. He was a sort of man whose life had quite upon his reputation. And at last I come to the most repulsive thing of all.
More repulsive than what you've already told me.
I'd gone on bearing with him, knowing full well the secrets of his life outdoors. When he brought the scandal within my own home.
Impossible! Here.
Yes. It's just over there, the dining room when I first came to know of it. I was busy with something in there, and the door was left ajar. I heard our housemaid come in with water for those plants.
Well, go on.
I heard Alvin come in shortly after. I heard him whisper something to her, and then I heard still sounds in my ears, so hateful, yet so ludicrous. I heard my own servant maid whisper, "No, Alvin, let me go, let me be."
Such unseemly levity on this part, but it cannot have been more than levity. Believe me.
Oh, I soon knew it would be. Mr. Alvin had his way with the girl. And that connection, Mr. Manders, had consequences.
Such things in this house. This house.
Oh, I've borne a great deal in this house. To keep him home in the evenings and at night, I had to make myself his boon companion for his secret orgies up in his room. It was there I had to sit alone with him and clink glasses and listen to his silly ribble talk. I would have to fight with him to get him dragged to bed.
You were able to bear all this.
I had to bear it, for a little boy's sake. But when the last insult was added, when my own servant maid, I swore to myself that it should all come to an end. I would take the reins into my own hand, take control over him and everything else, for now I had a weapon against him and he dared not oppose me. It was then I had to send Oswald away. He was 7 years old and was beginning to ask questions and notice things. I couldn't bear that. That is why I had to send him away. And that is also why he was never allowed to set foot in this house so long as his father was alive. No one knows what that cost me.
You have indeed led a life of trial.
I could not have borne it if I hadn't had my work. For I may truly say that I've worked. All the additions to the estate, all the improvements, all the labor-saving appliances that Alvin was so praised for having introduced. Do you think he had the energy for anything of the sort? He who sat all day on the sofa reading an old court guide? No. But I may tell you this, when he had his bed at intervals, it was I who urged him on. And it was I who had to bear the load when he sank back into his querulous wretchedness and revolted back to his evil ways.
To this man who brings a memorial to.
Now you see the power of an evil conscience.
Evil? What do you mean?
I always thought it impossible. One day the truth must come out and be believed. The orphanage will sit dead in all rumors and set every doubt at rest.
In that you certainly not missed your aim.
You must admit there was one other reason. I was determined that Oswald should inherit nothing whatever from his father.
Then it is Oswald's fortune then.
Yes. The sums that I've spent year after year on the orphanage make up the amount I reckoned it up precisely. The amount that made Lieutenant Alvin a good match in this day.
I don't understand.
It was my purchase money. I do not wish that any of the sums should pass into Oswald's hands. He shall inherit everything from me. Everything. Oswald, are you back so soon?
Yes. What can a fella do with himself out of doors in this eternal rain? But I hear dinner's ready. That's capital.
Parcels in the snow. Thank you. No doubt copies of the ode for tomorrow's ceremony. And dinner's ready. We'll be down shortly. I just have to tend to this. Would surrounded by red or white wine?
Both, please. I may as well help uncork it.
Yes. Just as I thought. The ode for tomorrow's ceremony. That's the message.
With what countenance am I to deliver my discourse tomorrow?
Well, I'm sure you'll get through it somehow.
Yes. It would not do to provoke scandal.
No. But then this long, hateful comedy will be over. From the day after tomorrow, I shall act in every way as if he who is dead never set foot in this house. There shall be no one here but my boy and his mother.
Oswald, take care. Are you mad? Let me go.
Oh,
What seems to be the matter, Mrs. Alving?
ghost. They come from the conservatory, raise them again.
Merciful heavens. Regina, is she the...
Yes, no. Come, not a word. Okay, Mr. Manders. Oswald, aren't you coming too?
No, thank you. I think I shall go out a little.
Yes, do. It seems to be a little brighter out. Regina,
Yes, Mrs. Alving?
go down to the laundry and help with the garments.
Yes, Mrs. Alving.
I do not suppose they can hear us from in there.
No, not while the door's closed. Besides, Oswald's just going out.
I'm still quite upset. I don't know how I managed to eat a morsel of dinner.
Nor I, but what is to be done now?
It's what is to be done. I'm quite at a loss.
I feel sure that so far no mischief has been done.
No, thank heavens. But it's a sorry state of things, nevertheless.
It is only an idle fancy on Oswald's part. You can be sure of that.
Yes, but I don't have much experience in matters of this sort, but I should really think.
Yes, she must leave this house immediately.
But yes, that much is clear.
Where to?
Where? Home to her father, of course.
To whom did you say?
To her father. Then Inkstrand is not. No, this is impossible. You must be mistaken.
Fortunately, there was no possibility of mistake. Johanna confessed everything to me. Alvin couldn't deny it. The only thing left to do was get the whole matter hushed up.
No, you could have done nothing else.
Johanna left our services immediately. A small sum of money to keep her tongue for the time. The rest she managed for herself when she got back to town. She renewed her old acquaintance with Engstrand, and without showing him the money that she had in her purse. After that, they got married in hot haste. Why, you married them yourself.
Yes. And how to account for. I seem to recollect quite distinctly Inkstrand coming to me, full of contrition, and confessing the misbehavior that he and his sweetheart had been guilty of.
Yes, of course he had to take the blame upon himself.
But such a piece of duplicity on his part? And to me, too! He never could have expected it of old Jacob Inkstrand. I shall not fail to take him seriously to task, you can be sure of that, but it would be immorality of such a connection. And for money, too. Tell me, how much did the girl receive?
$300.
For a miserable $300 to go and marry a fallen woman.
What did you say to me? I would have married a fallen man.
Merciful heavens, a fallen man? No, there's no.
Well, do you suppose that Alvin was any purer when he went to the altar with me as Johanna was when she married Engstrand?
But there's a world of dissimilarity between the two cases.
Perhaps we're not so dissimilar after all. Apart from the money, of course. Miserable $300 and the whole fortune.
Do you really hope to compare the two dissimilar cases? I mean, you at least have taken counsel with your heart, with your natural advisors.
I thought you understood what you call my heart had strayed to at the time.
If I had understood that, I should not have been a daily guest in you and your husband's home.
At any rate, the fact remains that with myself I took no counsel whatsoever.
Well, then, with your closest relatives, as your duty bade you, with your wife, with your mother, with your two aunts.
Yes, those three cast of the account of me, that's true. It's miraculous how clearly they made it seem that it would be downright madness to refuse such an offer. If only my mother could see me now and see what all that grandeur has come to.
No one can be blamed for the result. This much, at least, is clear. Your marriage was in full accordance with law and order.
Oh, the perpetual law and order. Pardon me, that's what does all the mischief in this world of ours.
Mrs. Alving, that is a sinful way of speaking.
But I can't help it. I must have done with all this constraint and insincerity. I can endure it no longer. I must work my way to freedom.
You forgot that a mother ought to be loved and honored by her son, as ought to a father.
Do not speak in such general terms, let us say. Ought Oswald not to love and honor Taman and Alving?
Is there no voice in your mother's heart which
forbids you from destroying your son's ideals.
What about the truth?
What about the ideal?
Oh, ideals, ideals. If only I were not such a coward.
But no, you should not disrespect ideals. They will avenge themselves most cruelly, Mrs. Holden. What? Take your son's case, for example. He seems to have few enough ideals as it stands. But this much at least is clear. His father stands before him as an ideal.
Yes, that is true.
Such a state of mind. You have grown foster in his mind with your letters.
Yes. In my superstitious awe for duty and the proprieties, I lied to my boy year after year. What a coward! What a coward I've been!
You have created a happy illusion in your son's heart, and you ought not undervalue it.
Who knows whether it's so happy after all? At any rate, I shall have no harm come to Regina. He shan't go and wreck the poor girl's life.
No, heavens, that would be horrible.
But if I knew he were in earnest, and that it were for his happiness...
What? What then?
But it couldn't be, for unfortunately Regina's not the right kind of woman.
What then? What do you mean?
If I weren't such a pitiful coward, I would go to him and I'd say, marry her, or do whatever else you wish, just let us have nothing underhand about it.
Would you let them marry her? God, anything so shocking, so unheard of.
Do you really mean unheard of, Pastor Memphis? Do you not suppose that there are not plenty of married couples as closely akin as they across the country?
I don't in the least understand.
Oh, yes, indeed you do.
Perhaps you're referring to... Yes, family life is often not so pure as it ought to be. But in such cases as you refer to, one can never be certain. What, that you, a mother, can think of letting your son go forth and...
But I cannot. I wouldn't for all the world. That's precisely what I'm saying.
No, because you are a coward. You're not a coward. Good God, a connection so shocking.
As far as that goes, they say we're all sprung from connections of that sort. And who is it that arranged the world so, Pastor Memphis?
Such questions I must decline to speak with you, as you are not in the right frame of mind. But that you dare call your scruples coward.
Let me tell you what I mean. I'm timid and faint-hearted because of the ghosts that hang about me. And those I can never quite shake off.
What do you say hangs about you?
Ghosts. When I heard Oswald and Regina in there, it was as though ghosts had risen up before me. But I sometimes think we're all those ghosts, Pastor Memphis. It's not what we inherit from our mothers and fathers that walks within us. It's all sorts of dead ideas and lifeless old beliefs and so forth. There's no vitality in them, yet they cling to us all the same, and you can never quite shake them off. When I pick up a newspaper, I seem to see ghosts, gliding between the lines as thick as the sands of the sea. And then we're all, every one of us, so pitifully afraid of the light.
Here we have the fruits of your reaping, and pretty fruits they are. Oh, these miserable, free-thinking, revolutionary books.
You're mistaken, Pastor Memphis. For it was you yourself who set me thinking upon it, and for that I thank you with all my heart.
I?
Yes. When you forced me under the yoke of what you call duty and obligation, when you lauded us right and proper, when my very soul rebelled against us, loathsome, that is when I began to pick at the seams of your doctrines. I wanted only to pick at one knot, but once I'd gotten one done, the whole thing unraveled, and then I understood that it was all machine cell.
Is this the upshot of my life's hardest battle?
Called around me a most pitiful defeat.
It was my greatest victory. Helen, the victory over myself.
It was a crime against us both.
When you came to me, crying, here I am, take me. And I ordered you, saying, woman, go back to your husband. Was that a crime?
Yes, I think it was.
It means you do not understand each other.
No, not now, at any rate.
Never in my wildest fantasies have I thought of you otherwise than as another man's wife.
Oh, indeed.
Helen,
People so often forget their past selves.
I do not. I am as I always was.
Well, let us not speak of it any further. You're now up to head and ears in boards and committees, and I'm battling my battle with ghosts, both within and without.
Those without, I shall help you to name them. After all that I have heard here, I cannot in good conscience allow Regina to stay here.
Then don't you think the best idea would be to get her provided for? I mean, by a good marriage.
Yes, that is desirable for her. Every account. Regina's now at an age when, of course, I don't have much experience in these matters,
Regina matured very early.
Yes, I found as much. She seemed to be quite mature physically when I prepared for confirmation. But, in any case, she should stay with her father for the time being, but then Engstrand's not her.
Who might that be? Come on in.
Oh, I humbly beg your pardon, but there was none of the servants about, so I took the great liberty of just knocking.
Very well. Come in. Did you speak to me?
No, I'm obliged to you, ma'am, but it was with his reverence that I wanted to have a word.
You want to speak to me, do you?
Yes, I'd like so terrible much.
Well then, what's that?
Why, it was just this, your reverence. Now, we've been paid off down under, my grateful thanks to you, ma'am. And now everything's finished, I was thinking it would be but right and proper that we who have been working so honestly together all this time, that we end up with that bit of a prayer meeting tonight.
A prayer meeting. Down at the orphanage.
Your reverence doesn't think it proper.
Well, of course I do. But I will.
I've been in the habit of offering a little bit of a prayer in the evenings myself.
Have you?
Yes, every once in a while, just a little edification in a manner of speaking, but I'm a poor common man. I've little enough luck, God help me, but I knew that the Reverend Mr. Manners happened to be here, so...
First, I have a question to put to you. Tell me, are you in quite right frame of mind? Do you feel your conscience quite clear and at ease?
Oh, Lord, help us, your Reverence. We better not speak of conscience.
Yes, that is exactly what we are to speak. How do you answer?
Why, a man's conscience, it can be bad enough now and then.
You admit that. Well then, why not make a clean precedent? Tell us the truth about you and Regina.
Mr. Magnus.
I will handle this.
About Regina? Oh, Lord, what a term you gave me. Oh, there's nothing wrong with Regina, is there?
Well, we'll hope not. The truth. You claim to be her father, eh?
Well, your Evans knows all about me and poor Johanna.
Come now, no more prevarication. Your wife told me solving everything before leaving her service.
Well, then, now did she really?
Oh, yes. We know you now, Miss Strand.
And she swore and took her Bible off.
Did she take her Bible?
Yeah, no. She only swore, but she did that solemn like.
You could keep such a thing from me all these years. I have trusted you in everything.
Well, I can't deny it.
Have I deserved it, sir? I, who have always helped you in word and in deed so long as it lay in my power. Answer me. Have I not?
Oh, it would have been a poor lookout for me many a time if not for the Reverend Mr. Manders.
And this is how you repay me. You caused me to enter falsehoods in the church register. You withhold the explanation you owe to me and to the truth. For years, your conduct has been wholly inexcusable. And from this moment forward, I am done with you, Jacob Engstrand.
I suppose there's no help for it.
How could you possibly explain yourself?
Well, you never could have. Gone and thought she'd make a man worse by talking about it. Well, your Evans, just fancy yourself in the same trouble as poor Johanna.
Ah,
Oh, look, bless you. I don't mean exactly just the same. If your Evans had anything to be ashamed of in the eyes of the world, we men folk ought not judge a woman too hardly, your Evans.
but I'm not. No, it's you I'm reproaching.
Well, might I humbly beg to ask your Evans a bit of a question?
Yes, you may.
Isn't it right and proper for a man to raise up the phone?
Well, yes.
And isn't a man duty bound to keep his sacred word?
Well, yes.
Well, when Johanna came to me and got into that trouble with that Englishman, he might have been an American, or a Russian, as they call him. She came down into the town, poor thing, she'd came to me once or twice before about my business, but she couldn't bear the sight of something as wasn't handsome. I've got this damaged leg on my... Your evidence recollects how I ventured into a dancing saloon where seafaring men was gearing up with all sorts of drink and devilry, and just as when I was for giving them a bit of admonition to live a new life.
Yes. You've told me this story. They threw you down the stairs. Your infirmity is an honor to me.
Oh, I'm not puffed up about it, your evidence, but what I mean to say is, when Johanna came and confessed all to me with weeping and gnashing of teeth, I can tell you, evidence, I was sort of hurt to hear it.
Were you really?
And so he says to her, the American, he's off sailing over the boundless sea. And as for you, Johanna, says I, you fallen creature, you've committed a grievous sin, but Jacob Engström, says I, he's got 2 good legs to stand up. You see, your evidence, I was speaking bigly tonight.
Yes, I understand that. Go on.
Well, that was just as how I raised her up and made an honest woman of her. So as folks would know that she went on a stay with foreigners.
Well, in all that, you acted very well. But I cannot approve of you taking money.
Money? I? Oh, not further.
But
Oh, no. Now I recollect there was a trifle of money Johanna had, but I would have nothing to do with that. No, says I, that's mammon. That's the wages of sin. This dirty gold, or no, sir, whatever it was. We'll just flint that back in the American's face, but he was up and gone over the boundless sea.
was he really, my good fellow?
Oh, he wasn't either, Evans. So, Johanna and I agreed that the money should go to the child's education. Oh, I make some this I beg it, honest Father. So far as my poor strength went, but we're slack.
Well, Engström,
That's just how it stands. And I bear myself witness as I raised up the child and lived kindly with poor Johanna. And ruled over my own house as the scripture has it, but it could never enter into my mind to come to your evidence and puff myself up, because even the likes of me have done some good in the world. No, sir. When anything of that sort happens to Jacob Engström, he holds his tongue about it. It don't happen too terrible often, I guess. When I do come to your evidence, I find a mortal deal that's weak and wicked to talk about. But I says it before and I says it again. A man's conscience isn't always as clean as it might be.
Give me your hand.
Oh, your
No
evidence.
nonsense. There.
And might I humbly beg you, your evidence is pardon.
No, it is you, it is I who want to beg your pardon.
Oh, Lord, no,
Oh,
sir.
yes, and I do it with my whole heart. I only wish there was some way I could prove to you that I truly regret my action.
Would your evidence do it?
Well, yes, of course.
Oh, well, here's just the chance. With a bit of money I've saved, I've been thinking of setting up downtown in a sailor's home.
You.
Oh, yes, it might be a bit of an orphanage too, in a manner of speaking. There's such a many temptations of wandering seafarers here at home. But in my home, I feel there's a sailor might feel there's under the eyes of
What do you say to this, Mrs. Olney?
it isn't much as I've got to start with, but if I can only find a helping hand.
Yes, we will consider the matter. I myself see not the slightest problem with it, but do go before me and prepare the orphanage. We'll pass an edifying hour together. Oh, light the candles to give it an air of festivity. For I can now well say, you are in the right frame of mind, Jacob.
Yes, I trust I am. And so I'll say goodbye to you, ma'am, and thank you kindly, and say, take good care of Regina for going on this child. It's a queer thing. It's almost as if she'd up and grown into the apple of my eye. Oh, it is.
then that was a very different account of things.
Yes, it certainly was.
It only shows how overly zealous one ought to be when judging one's creatures, one's fellows, excuse me. What do you have to say to all this?
But I think that you are, and always will be, a great baby in Angus.
I?
Yes. And I have a line to wrap my arms around your neck and kiss you.
You, good heavens! Thought.
You needed to be afraid of me.
But you have often a very exaggerated way of expressing yourself. I shall grab the documents and place them in my bag. Now, do keep an eye out when Oswald returns, and I shall look in later. Dear man.
Oswald, are you still at table?
I'm only finishing my cigar.
I thought you'd gone for a little walk.
Such weather as this. Wasn't that Pastor Manders that went out just now?
Yes, he's just going down to the orphanage. Oswald, you should take care of that liquor. It's strong.
Keeps out the time.
Wouldn't you rather come in here with me?
Am I smoking then?
You know quite well you may smoke cigars.
Oh. All right then. Just a tiny drop more first. There. Where's the pastor gone to?
I just told you he's gone down to the orphanage.
Oh yes. So you did?
Oswald, you shouldn't sit so long at table.
Oh, but I find it so pleasant, Mother. Just think what it is for me to sit at Mother's own table, in Mother's own room, and eat Mother's delicious dishes.
Oh, my darling boy.
Besides, what else can I do with myself here? Can't set to work at anything.
Why can't you?
Such weather as this. Not a single ray of sunshine the whole day. Ah, not to be able to work.
Perhaps it was not quite right for you to come home.
Oh yes, I had to.
You know, I would 10 times rather forego the joy of having appeared than let you sit about.
Now just tell me, Mother, does it really make you so very happy to have me home again?
Does it make me happy?
I should have thought it was pretty much the same to you whether I was in existence or not.
Have you the heart to say that to your own mother?
You've got on very well without me all this time.
Yes, I've got on without you, that is true.
Mother, may I sit beside you on the sofa?
Yes, of course, please.
There is something I must tell you, Mother.
Well,
Or I can't go on hiding it any longer.
hiding what? What is it?
I could never bring myself to write to you about it. Since I've come home, the words just...
What's the matter, Oswald?
Oh, yesterday and today. I've tried to put the thoughts away from me, to cast them off. It's no use.
Now you must tell me everything.
Sit still, and I will try to tell you. Mother, I complained of fatigue after my journey.
Yes.
But it isn't that's the matter. You're not any ordinary fatigue.
You're not ill, Oswald.
Be still, Mother. Do take it quietly. I'm not ill either, not what is commonly called ill. Mother, my mind is broken down. Really? I shall never be able to work again.
Oswald, no, it can't be.
Never to work again. A living death. Can you imagine anything so horrible, Mother? Never.
Well, how does this horrible thing come about you?
It's just, I cannot possibly begin to grasp or understand. I have never led a dissipated life, Mother, never in any respect. You mustn't believe that of me, Mother. I've never done that.
No, of course not.
And yet, it's come upon me just the same, this terrible misfortune.
Tell me everything, from the beginning to the end.
Yes. So I will.
How did it first start?
It began after I was home last time when I got back to Paris.
Yes.
I began to feel violent pains in my head. Chiefly in the back of my head they seemed to come. It was as if a tight iron ring had been screwed round my neck and upwards.
And then?
First, I just thought it was the ordinary headache that was so plagued with since I was a child.
Yes, yes.
It wasn't that. Soon found that out. I couldn't set to work at anything. I had planned to begin upon a great new picture, but my powers failed me. All my strength was crippled. I could form no definite images. Everything just swelled before me, whirling round and round. It was an awful state. At last, I sent for a doctor. Him I learned the truth.
What do you mean?
One of the first doctors at Paris. I told him my symptoms, and he set to work asking me a series of questions which I thought had nothing to do with the matter. I couldn't imagine what the man was after.
Yes?
But at last, he said, there has been something worm-eaten in you from your birth. He used that very expression, vermin.
What did he mean by that?
I didn't understand either. I begged him to explain himself more clearly. Till at last, the old cynic said, no.
What did he say?
He said, the sins of the father are visited upon the children.
The sins of the father.
I very nearly struck him in the face.
The sins of the father.
Yes. Do you believe that? Of course, I assured him that such a thing was out of the question, but do you think he gave in? No, he stuck to it. It wasn't until I produced 2 letters and translated the passages relating to the father.
But then?
Then, of course, he had to admit that he was on the wrong track. So I learned the truth. The incomprehensible truth. That I ought not to have taken part with my comrades in a light-hearted, glorious life of theirs. It had been too much for my strength. So I brought all this upon myself.
Also, no, it can't be. It's not true.
No other explanation was possible to be said. It's the awful part of it. Incurably ruined for life by my own heedlessness. All that I meant to do in the world. Dare not think of it any ever again. I can't think of it. Is it only then something comparative? Is it only when something one wasn't responsible for it? This, to have so thoughtlessly, heedlessly, recklessly thrown away one's own happiness, one's own health, everything in the world, one's very future, one's very life.
Oswald, it's not true. It's just in past.
You don't know. And then too, consume all this sorrow. Many a time I've almost wished to help them at the bottom of you. Didn't care so very deeply about me.
Why? Oswald, you're my only boy. You are all I have in this world.
Yes. So I see that when I'm at home, I see it, and it's almost the hardest part for me. But now I've told you the whole story. Now we won't talk about it anymore today. I daren't think of it for any longer. Give me something to drink, Mother.
To drink? What do you want to drink?
Anything you like. You have some cold punch in the house.
My dear Oswald.
Don't deny me, Mother. Do be kind now. I must have something to wash away all these gnawing thoughts. And then, it's so dark in here. And there's ceaseless rain. It may go on week after week, for months together, never to get a glimpse of the sun. I can't recollect ever having seen the sun all the times I've been at home.
Oswald, you're thinking of going away from me.
I'm not thinking of anything. I cannot think of anything. I let thinking alone.
Through now. Let us have a lamp.
Yes, ma'am. It's very low.
Now, Oswald, be frank with me.
So I am, Mother. I think I've told you enough.
Do you know? Small bottle of champagne.
Very low, ma'am.
That's just what I wanted, you know. I knew Mother wouldn't let a poor boy go thirsty.
My darling boy. How could I deny you anything now?
Is that true, Mother? Do you mean that?
How? What?
You couldn't deny me anything.
My darling Oswald,
Mother, hush.
Shall I do it?
No, thank you. I shall do it myself.
Look.
Oh, won't you? Then I will.
Well?
Tell me, Mother. I thought you, Pastor Magnus, seemed so odd, so quiet at dinner this evening.
Did you notice?
Yes. Mother, what do you think of Regina?
What do I think?
Isn't she splendid, Mother?
Oswald, you don't know what decided to.
Well,
She was allowed to stay too long at home. I should have taken her earlier into my care.
yes, but isn't she splendid to look at, Mother?
Regina has many serious faults.
What does that matter?
But nevertheless, I am fond of her. And I shall have no harm come to her.
Mother, Regina is my only salvation.
What do you mean by that?
I cannot go on bearing this anguish of soul alone.
You want your mother to share it with you?
Yes, that's what I thought, but that will not do. I see now that will not do. I must go away from you, Mother. I must live differently. I won't have you looking on at me.
Oswald,
If it will only be illness, Mother, you can be sure that I will stay with you, for you are the best friend that I have in the world. But
am I not, Oswald?
it's all this torment, gnawing remorse, and then great killing dread.
Dread, what do you mean?
I don't know. I can't describe it. Dare not think of it any longer. What is it you want, Mother?
I want my boy to be happy. That is what I want. He shan't go on brooding over him. More champagne, a large bottle.
Mother,
Do you think we do not know how to live here at home?
isn't she splendid to look at, Mother? Do you see how beautifully she's built and so thoroughly healthy?
Oswald, sit down now. Let's talk quietly.
I dare say you don't know that I owe Regina a bit of preparation.
You?
Yes. For a bit of thoughtlessness, whatever you like to call it. Very innocent at any rate, when I was home last.
Well?
She used often to ask me about Paris, and I used to tell her one thing or another. Until I recall, I happened to say to her one day, well, shouldn't you like to go there yourself?
Well?
Her face flushed. At last, she said, well, yes, I should like it of all things. Oh, well, I replied, it might perhaps be managed, or something like that.
And then?
Well, of course, I'd forgotten about the whole affair until the day before yesterday I happened to ask Regina if she was happy that I was to stay at home for so long.
Yes?
She gave me such a strange look and asked, well, what's to become of my trip to Paris?
Her trip?
And so it came out that she had taken the whole thing seriously, and even set to work learning French.
So that's why.
Mother, when I saw that light-hearted, splendid girl standing there before me, Sylvia and I hardly noticed her, but when she stood there as if with open arms ready to receive me, I knew that in her lay my salvation, for in her was the joy of life.
Joy of life. Can there really be salvation in that? Sorry to this, but I had to visit Stella.
Now bring another glass, Regina.
There is Mrs. Alden's glass, Mr. Alden.
Yes, but bring one for yourself. Why do you wait?
Mrs. Alden's wish.
Bring the glass, Regina.
You see what she wants. So, firm and lightly.
Oswald, this can never be.
It's a settled thing. Can't you see that? There's no use saying anything against it.
Oswald, my boy.
Now, if you want to talk more of that, think of other things. Sit down, Regina.
Sit down. No. Oswald, what were you saying about the joy of life?
Oh, yes. The joy of life, Mother. That's something you don't know much about in these parts. I've never felt it here.
Not while you're with me.
Not while I'm at home. You don't know about that.
I think I understand it now.
And then too, joy of work. At the bottom it's the same thing really, but that too, you know nothing about.
Perhaps I don't. Tell me more about it, Oswald.
I only mean to say that here people are brought up to believe that work is a curse and a punishment for sin, and that life is something miserable, something that it is best to be done with, the sooner the better.
Prepare the tears. Yes, we certainly do our best to make it that way.
But in the great world, people will not hear of such things. There, they don't believe in such doctrines any longer. It is a positive bliss and ecstasy there merely to draw the breath of life. Mother, have you ever noticed that everything I have painted is turned upon the joy of love? Always, always upon the joy of love. Laughter, sunshine, and glorious air, and faces radiant with happiness. That is why I'm afraid of remaining at home with you.
Afraid? What are you afraid of here with me?
Lest all my instincts should be warped into ugliness.
Is that what you think would happen?
I know it. You may live the same life here as there, and yet it will not be the same life.
Now I see the secrets of things.
What is it that you see?
I see it now, and now I may speak.
I don't understand you, Mother.
Perhaps I ought to go.
No, stay here. Now I can speak out, and soon you shall know the truth, and then you can choose. Oswald, Regina.
Hush! That's Amanda's.
There, we've had the most edifying time down there.
So have we.
Yes, we must stand by each strand of his sails, and Regina must go with him.
No, thank you, sir.
You're here, and with a glass in your hand.
Pardon.
Regina is going with me.
Going? Going with you.
Yes. As my wife, if she wishes it.
Merciful heavens.
I can't help it, sir.
Or she'll stay here if I stay.
Here.
You're no Mrs. Olving.
You should do neither one thing nor the other. For now I can speak.
You will do no such thing. No! No! No!
Yes, I can speak, and I will, and no ideal shall suffer for it.
Mother, what is it that you're hiding from me?
Oh, ma'am, listen, don't you hear shouts outside?
Sam, where does that light come from?
The orphanage is on fire!
On fire!
On fire? Impossible, I just come from there.
Yes, my hat.
Regina, my shawl.
This is a judgment upon this abode of loss.
Yes, but come, Regina.
Maybe left it on the shirt.
The whole thing burnt. Burnt to the ground.
Basement is still burning.
How is it that Oswald doesn't come up? There's nothing to be saved.
Things happen to him.
Has he not even got his hat off?
No, no heads.
No, let it be. He must come up at once. I must go after him.
Is all Mrs. Olving here?
No, she's just come down to the garden.
This is the most terrible night I've ever been through.
Such a dreadful misfortune.
Don't speak of it! I can hardly bear to think of it.
What happened?
Don't ask me. How would I know? Judith, is it not enough that your father,
What about him?
he's driven me distracted?
Your Reverence!
Are you after me here, too?
Oh, yes, but I must... Oh, strike me. What am I saying? Oh, but this is a terrible, ugly business, Your Reverence.
Alas,
What's
alas.
the matter?
It all started from this here prayer meeting down at the orphanage. The birds mind. And to think that such an awful thing, it should be my doing, that it should become His Reverence's doing.
Inchman, I assure you,
Oh, there wasn't a soul except Your Reverence has ever laid a finger on any of the candles down there.
so you declare, but I do not recall ever having a candle in my hand.
Oh, and I saw clear as daylight how Your Reverence took the candle and snuffed it with your fingers.
And you stood and looked
I
on.
toasted the snuff among the shavings. I saw it plain as pikestaff, I did.
It's really quite beyond my comprehension. I mean, I've never made a habit of stuffing candles with my finger.
Oh, and terrible risky it looked too, that it did, but is there truly such a great deal of harm done, your evidence?
Don't ask me.
Well, your evidence hadn't insured it, neither.
No, I told you so.
Oh, not insured? And then to go straight away down and set light to the whole thing. Lord, what a misfortune.
You may well say so.
Oh, and to think that such a thing should happen to a benevolent institution that was to be a blessing both to town and country. The papers won't be for handling your evidence very kindly, I expect.
That's just what I'm thinking of. It's almost the worst of the whole matter. Oh, all the malignant attacks and imputations. Oh, it makes me shudder to think of it.
He's not to be persuaded to leave the fire.
Ah, there you are, Mrs. Oldham.
So you've escaped your inaugural arrest, Pastor Manders.
Oh, I should so gladly.
It's all for the best. The orphanage would have done no one any good anyways.
Do you think not?
Do you think that it would?
It's a terrible misfortune all the same.
Yes, let us speak of it plainly as a matter of business. Do you need to speak with Pastor Manders now?
That's just what I'm a-doing of, ma'am.
Then sit down, meanwhile.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. I'd sooner stand.
Suppose you're going by the steamer?
Right, in an hour.
Would you be so kind as to take all the paperwork with you? I shan't be thinking about it anymore. I have other things to think of.
Mrs. Oldham.
And then I shall send a power of attorney. You can settle the whole matter as you please.
That I will very gladly do. We must change the whole destination of the endowment. Alas.
Yes, of course we must.
I think I will arrange for the land to pass to the parish. It is by no means without value and can be set to some use or other. And the interest on the money we can set toward a project of acknowledged interest for the town.
Yes, do just as you wish. The whole matter is completely indifferent to me.
Give a thought to my sailor's home, your evidence.
My word, that's a bad idea. Yes, we must consider that.
Oh, don't take considering. Lord, forgive me.
How long I will be able to keep control of this situation, I do not know. Whether or not public opinion will force me to retire entirely depends on the inquiry to the file.
What do you mean by that?
The results by no means can be predicted.
Aye, but it cannot. But here stands old Jacob Engstrand.
What do you mean?
Oh, but Jacob Engstrand isn't the kind of man to desert a noble benefactor in his hour of need.
What do you mean?
Oh, look, Jacob Engstrand might be likened to a guardian angel.
Oh, Jacob, I couldn't.
Oh, that'll be the way of it all the same. I know a man as has taken other sins upon himself before now. I do.
Yours is a rare picture, Isaac. I can rest assured that we will help you with your sales. Now, come, let us be off.
You come along too now, my lass. You shall live snug as a yolk in an egg.
Merci.
Goodbye, Mrs. Oldham. May the spirit of law and order descend upon this house, and that quickly.
Goodbye, Pastor Manders.
Goodbye to you, my child, and should any trouble come to you, you know where Jacob Engstrand is to be found. Little Harbour Street. And the home for wandering marriages shall be called Chamberlain Alding's Hall. And if so be as I'm able to run the house in my own way, I beg that the house should benefit the Chamberlain's memory.
Goodbye. Goodbye. What house was he talking about?
Sort of house that the Pastor Manders set up.
Burned down like the other.
Makes you think that?
Everything there. All that recalls father's memory is doomed. Here I am too, burning down.
Awfully. You shouldn't have stayed so long down by the fire.
I almost think you were right.
Please, let me dry your face. You're quite wet.
Thank you, Mother.
Should you like to sleep? Are you not tired?
No, not to sleep, never to sleep. I never sleep, I only pretend to. never come soon enough.
Really are ill, my boy. Mr. Alving, ill.
Shut all the doors. This killing dread.
Close the doors, Regina.
Regina, grab my pillbox, Regina.
Now I shall sit beside you, Oswald.
Yes. Yes, if you shall look. Regina shall be with me too. Regina shall be with me. Always. Come to the rescue, won't you, Regina?
To the rescue.
Yes, when the need comes.
Have you not your mother to come to the rescue?
You? No, mother. That rescue you will never bring me. You. Well, after all, you ought to do it, not you. Why don't you call me that, Regina? Why can't you refer to me as Oswald?
I don't think it's an awful like it. You shall have leave to presently, but in the meantime, come sit down beside us. Now I shall relieve you of the burden on your mind, Oswald.
You, mother?
Yes, all the long remorse and dread you speak of.
And you think you can do that?
Yes, now I can. You spoke a little while ago about the joy of life. And at that word, a new light burst from me over my life and everything connected with it.
Don't understand you, mother.
What have known you, Father, when he was young, Virginia? Positively brimming over with the joy of life.
Yes, I know he was.
Like a breezy day, only to look at him. What strength and vitality there was in him.
Well,
Child of joys he was, but he was like a child in those times. He was forced to stay here in a half-grown town which had no joys to offer him, only dissipations. He had no object in life, only an official position. No work he could throw himself heart and soul into, only business. He had no comrades who could realize what the joy of life truly meant, only loungers and boon companions.
Mother!
So the inevitable happened.
The inevitable?
Show me yourself what would happen if you were to stay here.
Do you mean to say, Father?
Yes, brimming over with joy of life, and I offer no brightness for him.
Not even you?
He taught me a great deal about duties and so forth, which I went obstinately believing in. Everything was marked up with duties. And my duties, and his duties. I'm afraid I made this home intolerable for your poor father.
Why have you never spoken about this in writing to me before?
I never before seen it in life that I could speak of it to you, his son.
In what light did you see it then?
I saw only this one thing. Your father was a broken down man before you were born.
Ah,
And then I dwelt on the fact day after day that by rights, Regina should be at home in this house just like my own boy.
Regina!
I? Yes, now you know it, both of you.
Regina!
So that kind of woman.
Your mother had many wonderful qualities, Regina.
Yes, but she was one of those all the same. I've often suspected it, but now, please, madam, may I be allowed to leave at once?
Do you really wish it, Regina?
Yes. Indeed, I do.
You should have leave to, but
Go away now! Your place is here, Regina.
It seems strong. Now, I suppose they call you Oswald. To show you this is not at all what I expected. I would have known that Oswald was an invalid and that nothing good could ever come between us, but I really can't waste any more of my time out here in the country nursing sick people.
Not you, one who is so near to you.
That I can't. Pastor Manders knows his problem.
Pastor Manders knows all about it.
That I'd better make haste while the steamer passes such a nice man to deal with. And he owes me some of his money, that brute of a carpenter.
You are heartily welcome to it, Regina.
Think you might have raised me up as a gentleman's daughter and might have switched me better? Must be I'm come to drink champagne with gentle folks yet.
Unfortunately, you leave, but do not throw yourself away, Regina.
One place for it. always welcome.
Where is that?
Chamberlain Albany's home.
Regina? Now I see it. You're going to your ruin.
Stuff. Goodbye.
Is she gone?
Yes.
I think it was a mistake, this.
Does it shake you very much?
Well, that's about father, you...
It's about your unhappy father. I'm afraid it was too much for you.
Should you fancy that? Of course, it came as a great surprise to me, but it can make no real difference.
No difference. As your father was so infinitely unhappy.
Of course, I can pity him, as I would any other man, but...
But enough. Your own father.
Oh, father! Father! I never knew anything of my father. I remember nothing about him except that he once made me sick.
Well, this is terrible to think of a son not to love his father no matter what.
He has nothing to thank his father for. He's never known him. Surely you cannot cling to that old superstition, you who are so enlightened in other ways.
It could really be only a superstition.
Yes, surely you can see that. It's one of those notions that are current in the world, and so...
Ghosts.
Yes, you may call them ghosts.
And you don't love me either, Oswald.
You, I know. At
Yes,
any rate.
yes, you know me, but is that all?
Of course, I know how very fond you are of me. And that would be grateful to you. And that you can be so useful to me now that I am ill.
Yes. Not I, Oswald? I can almost bless this illness that has brought you home to me, for I see now that you are not mine. I have to win you.
Yes, yes, yes. All of these are just so many phrases. You must remember that I am a sick man, Mother. I cannot be so taken up with the thoughts of others. I have enough to think about myself.
I shall be patient and easily satisfied.
Cheerful, too, Mother.
Yes, certainly, but I'm relieved you've all lost now.
Yes, you have. Now, who will relieve me of the dread?
What dread?
Regina could have been got to do it.
I don't understand. What is it about dread and Regina?
Is it very late, Mother?
No, it's early morning. The day is dawning over the mountains. The weather's clearing. Maybe soon you'll see the sun, Oswald.
I'm glad for that. There may still be much to live for and rejoice in yet.
Yes, of course there is.
Thank you for ridding me of all those dreadful fancies, Mother. But I've got over this one thing more. Now that it's happened, we'll talk.
Yes, let us.
Meanwhile, the sun will be rising. You shall know all. And I shall not feel this dread any longer.
What is it about to know?
Did you not say to me some time ago there is nothing in the world that you would not do if I asked it of you?
Indeed, I said so.
And you'll stick to it?
Yes, of course, but
Very well then. You shall hear it. Now, Mother, you have a strong, steadfast mind, I know. You're not to scream out when you hear it. Do you understand?
what dreadful thing can it be?
You're to sit quite still. You promise me that, Mother. We will sit and talk about it quietly. Do you promise?
Yes, I promise. Only speak.
Very well. I must tell you that this fatigue and my inability to think of work, all that is not the illness itself.
Then what is the illness itself?
The disease that I have as my birthright, seated here.
Oswald, no,
Don't scream, I can't bear it. Yes, it is seated here, and it may break out at any day, at any moment.
Oh, what horror!
Quiet. Quiet, that's how it stands with me. Had one attack down here already, Mother. It was soon over. When I came to know the state I'd been in, then the dread descended upon me, raging and raveling. So I set off home to you as fast as I could.
What is this dread, Oswald?
It is so indescribably loathsome. It only then some ordinary, mortal disease. I'm not so afraid of death. But I should like to live as long as I can.
Of course you must.
But this is so utterly loathsome to be like a little baby again. fed, it's not to be spoken of.
Child has his mother to nurse.
No, not that, never that. It is just what I will not have. I cannot bear to think that I might lie in that state for many years, turn old and grey. Meanwhile, you might die. Believe me. But the doctor said it would not necessarily prove fatal at once. He called it a sort of softening of the brain. I think that's quite a nice expression. It always sets me thinking of cherry-coloured velvet. Something soft and delicate to stroke.
Oswald.
And now, you have taken Regina from me.
I don't understand. What is it that Regina can do that I cannot give you?
I got over my attack in Paris. The doctor told me. But when it comes again, and it will come again, there will be no more hope.
He was heartless enough to tell
I
me.
demanded it of him. I told him I had preparations to make. So I had. You see this month?
What is it?
Morphine.
Oswald, no.
I've straight together 12 pills.
Oswald, give it to me.
Not yet,
I shall never survive this.
It must be survived. Now, if I'd had Regina here, I should have told her how things stood with me and begged her to come to the rescue at last. She would have done it.
Never.
When the horror had descended upon me, she found me lying there, with a little newborn baby, impotent, lost, hopeless, beyond all saving.
Regina would never have done this.
Regina would have done it. She was so splendidly light-hearted. She would have soon wearied of nursing an invalid like me.
Well, then heaven be praised that Regina's not here.
Oh, then. It is you that must come to my rescue, Mother.
I?
Who ought to do it if not you?
I, your mother.
That very reason.
I who gave you life.
I never asked you for life. What sort of a life have you given me? I will not have it. You will take it back.
Help!
Don't leave me. Where are you going?
To fetch the doctor, Oswald, let me pass.
Now I shall come in, and you shall not go out.
Oswald, my boy.
You really have, in mother's heart, will stand to see me face this unutterable dread.
I have my hand upon it.
Will you?
If it should ever be necessary, but it will never be necessary. It's impossible.
Very well then. Let us hope so. And let us live together as long as we can. Thank you, Mother.
Are you feeling calmer now?
Yes.
See it? It's only a dreadful fancy, that's all. Dreadful fancy. It shall soon be over, and you shall live here, together. You shall have anything you wish, anything in the world you point to. There. It soon passes, and you shall not think of it anymore. And look, Oswald. What a beautiful day we're having. The sun is out. And pretty soon you shall see your house.
Mother, give me this sun.
What is that?
Sun. The sun.
Oswald. Oswald, what's the matter? Oswald, look at me. Oswald. Oswald, you know me. Oswald, look at me.
Sun. Sun.
I cannot bear it. I cannot bear it. Where's he got it? No. No, yes.
Well,